Welcome to the worst nightmare of all. Reality.
Explore the lesser-known stories of our unknown world. Join the pursuit of the paranormal with Ash and Greg.
Welcome to this week's Pursuit of the Paranormal. How are you doing, Greg?
Yeah, I'm alright, Ash. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. How's things
Nice hair.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I've had a haircut today.
Has it been dyed as well?
Yeah, I'm dyeing it blonde. Well, I'm bleaching it and then dyeing it a different colour. Got to get
Colour?
it as light as possible for a screen.
Green.
Yeah.
Why green?
I've not been green for a while, so I'm going back to being green. I've been gold and black for a while, so I'm going back to green.
Very good. I look forward to seeing it. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I've just got back from a weekend away, and where I stayed, just down the road, is apparently one of the most haunted chapels in the UK. St Michael's Chapel in Tinton, apparently. Some guy set fire to the place and 4 people were killed that night.
Nice.
And then it's been used by paranormal groups to do filming. I haven't even looked into it yet. I only got back yesterday. And the last time my friend was up there, he said they were filming a porn film up there. So all sorts up there.
Awesome.
So yeah. So loads of dead bodies and lots of other stuff, I think.
Lots of new bodies.
Yeah.
So this week is a bit of a home game for me. We're joined by 2 of my fellow UFO identified team members. We've got Natalie and Abigail. Hello, ladies.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yep,
for
thank you
joining
for
us.
having us on.
Hello.
So what we're going to do this episode is Abby was the one that joined us when we went down to Cannock Chase for our investigation a few weeks ago. So we're going to talk about what we did and show us some of the results that we've had during that day, some of the audio that we recorded, and discuss that. And then after that, we'll have a talk to Natalie about UFO identified and some of the news coming out of our website. So just to start, let's start with Natalie, actually. You want to give us a bit of background on yourself, just how you got into the whole paranormal and UFO field?
Yeah, I've been interested in it for a long, long time. The paranormal field was the first kind of area that sort of started to fascinate me, really, following a number of experiences that led me on to believe that I was, had some psychic abilities and was an empath. So that's how it started, really, with a paranormal experiences. And then it sort of morphed from paranormal into UFO type research, and I think they very much overlap each other a lot of the time. So yeah, it's been with me for most of my life, and it's something I'm very, very passionate about and interested in, and love the investigation side of it, paranormal and UFO wise. So yeah, it's my little hobby.
Awesome. You said you had a couple of experiences. Is that something you don't mind talking about? Or?
Yeah. My first experience really was in an old house that actually belonged to the Tate and Lyle family, the Sugar family. And that's when I first actually saw something that I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. It was a shadow figure that looked like they had a hood on. And I had a number of experiences at this place, and ended up actually having to contact the local church to get somebody in to exorcise it, because it had a lot of different spirits that were there, a lot of playful sort of poltergeist type spirits that had locked doors and move things around and that sort of thing, but also some very dark spirit that was in there as well, that was quite oppressive, and that made anyone who was in that vicinity feel not quite right. And it got to the point that the experiences were ramping up and up and up. and we needed to do something about it. And we were put in touch with somebody who came from the church and was able to pinpoint exactly within this house where the paranormal events had happened. And there was one particular bathroom that had a very oppressive feel to it. It was horrible. It would make your hair stand up on end. And as soon as this lady walked into it, she said straight away that there was an evil presence in there. So yeah, that's how it started really with the first sort of experiences that I had, and then it really, I think, unlocked something in me. And from then on, I was more in tune, I think, with that sort of side of my personality that probably has always been there, but never really activated before. And from then on, I see spirits, shadows, ghostly things, whatever you'd like to call them, on a very regular basis, daily. And it just become part of my life, being able to deal with that really, and have that insight and ability to be able to communicate with things that are outside our spectrum really, as humans on the earth at the minute. So that's how it all started really, with a haunted house. In the good old tradition of things.
How do you communicate with them?
I communicate a lot through a visual picture. So I get a vision in my head, and I quite often will draw that down. I can hear some things, but for me, it's very much pictorial. So I can see objects, I can see words and phrases and shapes and different things like that I'm able to draw. And one experience in particular, myself and my husband were going out to do a traditional ghost hunt at a big old stately home. And I had this really strange feeling that I knew I was going to see something. So my husband's a complete skeptic, doesn't believe at all. So I drew a picture of this lady in this sort of very old Victorian dress with this bonnet on her head that I could see. We went and we did the ghost hunt, and we saw a lot of different things, but there was nobody or anything that resembled this lady that I'd drawn. So of course he said to me, "Oh, this is a load of old nonsense, it's in your head." And then a week later, the pair of us were driving home from his mum and dad's house, along a very busy road over in the Wirral, and we stopped, pulling up to a traffic light, and stood next to a petrol station was this woman dressed in this Victorian costume. Now, that's not a sight you normally see in the Wirral next to a petrol station. And she was there 1 second and then she'd gone. And he looked at me and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yes, of course I did." And he said, "That's really freaky. I just want to go." So I think from that point on, he sort of believed a little bit more of what I could see and do. So yeah, it's very much a feeling and a visual thing with me.
Cool.
What about you, Abby? What's your bit of history and your intro into the paranormal?
I've never lived in a house that didn't have something in it. Every single house. It started at my mum and dad and their friend did the Ouija board. And they had this baker who was hanged for murder in Australia. And then the glass shot off up into the corner of the room and shattered. And after that, there was very oppressive sort of feel to it. But you had to have flour in the house, or kitchen cupboard doors would bang. You'd see reflections of people who weren't in the house walking across the hall, and you could feel somebody walking in the room behind you. You'd turn around, there'd be nobody there. And then when I was 13, I was awoken by a woman giving me my full title, telling me I had to get up. Now, this is like way back in the 80s, so early 80s. So these old houses, they had coal fires. So eventually I got up, went through, and an ember had come out the fire and was burning its way through the rug, and it was just catching light. So I ran and got my dad. My dad put it out, and he says, "What are you doing up?" And I says, "An old woman woke me." And I described her, and he sent me to my room and wouldn't speak for a couple of days. I found out through an auntie and her going through picture albums and things that the woman was my dad's mum, who had died when he was 15.
Wow.
So that got me into that side of things. Into the UFO side of things, I grew up in a very remote area in Ayrshire. There's little to no light pollution, so you have amazing skies. You go up the top of the hill, you can see the northern lights. It's that high. Amazing clear skies, and the stuff that was buzzing around. But there was no phones, nobody had a camera in their pockets. They're just a bunch of kids watching things in the sky, and that's how that ended up starting for me.
So what sort of things were you actually seeing in the sky?
You know, you get the satellites that go over.
Mhm.
Well, there weren't a lot of satellites then, but it go over, and then 90 minutes later, another one would go over, and you think, yeah, well, you know what that is. That's fine. But when that's going over and another light would overtake it at an angle and go around it, and you think, well, that's not normal. That's not right. Or you'd see what my mum would refer to, because she used to see them as the dancing lights, where you get 2 or 3 coming in and sort of zipping around each other and then zipping off, and that was it.
Wow.
And you would get that regularly up there. Enough for my mum to say it's the dancing lights. It's lovely. And she never ever said, it's nothing, get back in your room, ignore it, don't talk about it. It was just natural part of existence for us. So there was never any prejudice or anything like that in our house for it. There was no hiding it. There was no speaking in hushed tones. It was like, saw them again, these dancing lights, and it's like, okay, 1, what were you doing out of bed? And 2, where were you?
It's funny because we speak to a lot of people, and it kind of, a lot of the time they don't speak to people, or they do speak to people. There's sort of, sometimes it's kept a secret and they don't speak about it at all, and then other times we speak to people and they're happy to they have the conversations with family. So it's interesting that it was a thing.
No, I was dead open. Not with my dad. My dad would nothing to do with it. But my mum was dead open. She was like, oh yeah. That's fine. I think they got a little bit freaked out when I had an imaginary friend. His name was Andrew. Until I come in the house and I'd buried all my weebles and a couple of little dolls because they all died of the pox, because Andrew told me when people die, they get buried in the ground.
God.
And I had never known anybody that had died. So my mum's like, okay, so maybe I will set the plate out for Andrew at tea time. Maybe I will hold his hand when we cross the road. He wasn't there very long, but that was my mum sort of like, yeah, well, it's here. It's happening. But she used to see, when I was born in Dumfries, she used to see a tall man in a trench coat and a trilby. There was only one way in and one way out, and she would see him at the top of the stairs. And she always knew when he'd been in the room, and apparently used to stand over my cot.
I'm doing a bit of research on the black hat man at the minute. So that'll be one of our articles that comes out shortly.
He was just in a trench coat and a trilby, and he was always around. My mum says he was always around me. Once I was in and tucked up, then he would go. She saw him regularly.
That would freak me out. I wouldn't lie.
She was perfectly comfortable with all of it. It was never a big thing for her, I think, because she saw her mother when standing at a bus stop, but her mum had died when she was 11, so it's kind of gone through the generations, I think. So she's always been quite accepting of it.
So how have these childhood experiences sort of affected you, or sort of led you into what you do as an adult?
Nosiness. I needed to know. It's why I got into the sciences. It's why I went back to university. I needed to know why these things were happening to certain people. Why isn't everybody seeing this? Why isn't everybody feeling this? Is it only certain people? Why? Is it something biological? Is it something we can explain? And so I went looking for people and looking for answers. And it's the same with the whole UFO thing. You look for people, you look for constantly looking for answers. So it's just pure nosiness.
Good answer. So that kind of leads us on to the first part of the show, I guess, talking about Cannock Chase. Myself, Greg, Abby, and others joined us for a full day back down in Cannock Chase in Staffordshire 2 weeks ago today. Is that when it was?
Blimey.
Was it? Was it that long
Time
ago?
flies.
Oh, I've been drunk and had floods since then. It could have been a month ago, wouldn't have known.
Wow,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so Greg, going to sort of give us a bit of overview of how we got on, or what we started doing.
Yeah, so we met up at one of the cafes, and that was the first time I'd met everybody, including you, Ash.
Yeah, including me. First time the podcast hosts got together.
Considering we've been doing this since December last year. So yeah, nice to meet everybody. And then we moved on from there. We went to a car park one side of Cannock Chase. So for people who don't know, Cannock Chase is an area of outstanding natural beauty. It's this huge.
It's 80 square kilometers.
Is it
in size? Yeah. So it's a big area.
It is a huge place. So we went up to sort of around sort of the top area, parked up, and made our way into the woods with no real agenda of where we were going to begin with. We sort of walked. Can you hear that?
Like a bang.
I just heard myself. I can hear myself speaking in the.
You like a scratching noise?
Yeah.
Oh, that was odd. So it just started playing the video clip of Cannock Chase on the computer randomly, and all I could hear was myself going, "Are you there?"
My God.
How
So that just
bizarre.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
better than me saying empty.
Oh,
Empty.
God. So this is just one of the many strange things that seem to happen when we're recording stuff, when we're
Talking about stuff.
we've had all sorts of weird stuff happen. We've had, so going off on slight tangent then from Canada, we've been on phone calls to America, and my whole computer seemed to just die and then restart back up again whilst we're on a Skype call, and I'm like, sorry about that, and they're like, you've been there the whole time, and I haven't. The computer shut down, and all sorts of strange stuff seemed to happen. And again in Cannock it did as well as the day went on. So we started walking into the woods and set up at the first place, and we set up the cameras, we set up light up cat balls that move. If there's any movement, they start flashing lights. We had cameras set up, full spectrum cameras, and it was fairly flat to begin with. I think we'd all agree.
Yeah, there was no atmosphere in that bit at all.
No, there wasn't. Then all of a sudden, my camera took a photo, or made the sound of taking a photo, but there was no photo taken. And
That was at the same time Ash's voice recorder was doing the weird and wonderful replicating stuff and
Yeah. So tell us what happened there, Ash.
Yes. So when we were reviewing the footage, we both had sound recorders recording like EVP sessions and just recording what's going on. When I was looking back through my sound recorder, I had like 10 different files on there. But the first 5 files. So listen to the first file, and you could hear the sound of a spirit box, and then Abby saying the word empty, and then the rest of the file. Well, it listens like so. I was looking for a certain voice clip, so that wasn't the voice clip I wanted. So I went back, went to the next file on the sound recorder, pressed play. It's the same noise, and Abby's saying empty. It's like, that's weird, it's the same recording. So I went back, so I must have clicked on the same one again. Went back, no, because on the second recording, different file name. So went to the third recording, different file name, press play. Same noise at the start. Abby's there again saying empty. It's like, okay, this is weird now. There's now 3 recordings of the same thing. I go back again, file number 4, different file name, press play, same noise, Abby saying empty. So go back, next file, different file name, press play, and this time it's the voice clip I was looking for. It was from when we did Yes's method experiment. So I didn't think much of it because I was trying to do I was reviewing the Estes method, which we'll come on to in a bit. I was reviewing that footage. So I sort of forgot about these 4 recordings. I mentioned it to Abby in passing. And then it's 3 days later, I thought, well, I got the files now. I'm going to go look at these files again. And on the computer, all 4 files were there, but they wouldn't play. They're all different sizes, different file names. And only three of them wouldn't play. Kept saying, quote file, play it on the sound recorder, don't play it on the computer. And the one file that did work was the same noise. I was saying empty. And then moments later, you don't hear the shutter, but you hear Abby and Greg both saying, did you just hear that? It sounded like the camera taking a photo. So it's only like, this is probably about a week later. It's like, so this weird recording that's recorded itself 4 times on different file names was at the exact same time that Greg's camera took a photo, or didn't take a photo rather. So it's just an odd that is at the same time that there's been 2 different devices about weird stuff happen to him. And in the first place where we thought there wasn't much going on.
And that was only the camera that we noticed there was an issue with just at the start. We didn't know about the voice clip until...
Yeah, because we all heard the shutter like going off, like it no one was near it. It was on a tripod. We were all a couple of meters away from it, and we all heard the everyone knows the camera taking a picture noise and the shutter noises. No one was near it, and and that was at the same time as I had some weird recording of Abby and saying empty, whatever that, like an empty photo. I don't know.
But there was nothing else going on around us. There was nothing.
No.
Just sounded. It just felt normal, didn't it?
Yeah, flat.
And then, so we, at that point, a few minutes later, it was Ash said that he thought he saw something in the distance. But
So I had my video camera set up. We had a REM pod teddy bear set up as a little bit in the distance. And I had my camcorder focus on that with the screen out on the camcorder. Now, from time to time, I'll just have a look at the screen and see what's going on. And I saw what looked like movement in the background of the picture on the screen. It's only a small video camera monitor. I didn't think anything of it, but I just sort of kept an eye on it. A few moments later, I saw definite movement again in between 2 trees, like in the distance on the screen. So I mentioned it to Greg and Abby and said, like, I think there's something up there. I didn't really say where exactly. It's just sort of like pointing in the general area of just past this REM teddy bear that we had set up. Mm. And so Greg was like, okay, I go have a wander into the forest. So Abby's still sat with me. Greg goes off for a walk, and I can see Greg on my little camera screen. And he walks about a bit and stops dead exactly in the point between 2 trees where I saw some movement, and he just stood still in this space. I said to Abby, like, Greg's in the exact same space where I thought I saw something, like he must have seen something, or found something because he stopped in that exact tiny 2-pixel square on my camera's monitor that he's thinking on. So Greg comes back, so we asked him what happened and what did you feel or what did you see while you were there?
Yeah, it felt really strange. I took some dowsing rods with me as well, and they were crossing over at that exact same point. So yeah, it just felt a bit weird up there, but I didn't know that was the particular point that you saw something until I got back. So then we decided at that point that we would move camp and
Go to where the energies are.
go to where it was, yeah. And then we done some EVP sessions at the next play, or at that particular place, and that's when Abby was using the dowsing rods.
Yeah.
And they were going a little bit crazy, weren't they?
Just doing a complete 360. Just one of them just kept spinning and spinning and spinning.
To the point where you asked it to stop. You're literally like, can you stop it now?
But I had to keep leaning back because they're quite long. So it's like,
yeah, they are quite long.
And it just kept going, and then it would cross, uncross, cross, go round again a few times. And then I had to say, like, stop. No, I'm going to put these down.
But all the while,
find another way.
All the while, the cat balls weren't going off, and the REM pod bear thing wasn't making any sound at all.
No, we had no activity on anything else apart from the dowsing rods and the electronics.
And just the whole feeling, that area was different to where we were previously. It just felt uncomfortable, was maybe the word.
Just felt a bit weird, didn't it?
It was different, definitely different to where we were. It wasn't as relaxed. Like, we felt quite relaxed in the first place, and in the second place, it was just...
And no birds.
Felt different. And no birds
at all. Nothing.
No birds. We're in a forest, and there was just nothing, no noise.
So after that particular section, we decided to move onwards again.
And then the heavens opened.
Then the heavens opened, which we didn't appreciate how much they opened until we got out of the forest section.
It didn't help. We had like 10 ponchos between us, and every one of them was in the cars.
We had
the car park.
Ponchos with us in the car. Yeah, so that was a bit of a challenge as well. So we got absolutely drenched on the way back to the car, had a cup of coffee, had a bit of a snack break, and decided that we'd wait and
try to dry off.
And as it was still raining, we decided to head to the pub to review any footage that we got, because I brought my laptop with me with a card reader so we could have a little look, and didn't see anything, despite our best efforts to try and find something on Ash's video. We didn't.
Yeah, the point where I saw something on the camera's monitor, there was nothing. We could see the point like later, like a little bit after Greg went to like deep in the forest, which was literally moments after I saw something move on the screen. But there was nothing when we reviewed the footage, sadly. Just don't know what that was.
No. So, yeah, onwards we ventured to what was for me, the weirdest place of the day, which was the Castle Ring, which has been known to have portals, UFOs, black-eyed children, all manner of strange things happen around there.
And all manner of strange things did.
Yes, they did. They did. So we got there, and after working out that the gates might be locked, we had to park down the road, walk back up, and set up for some experiments. Again, doing the same sort of thing. We got the REM pod bear up. I don't know if we got our dowsing rods out at that point. I don't know if we did.
No, we didn't. We went with the flashing balls.
Yeah.
The teddy bear. And we were going to focus more on the Estes method.
Yeah.
So it's starting to get dark at this point.
Yeah, and that's when we started talking that it was a strange place. We talked at one point that we said, wouldn't it be weird if all the sounds stopped and it all went quiet, and then literally moments later all the birds stopped making noises. It wasn't
even rustling in the grass, and there was not a frog in the marshy bits, nothing.
just deathly silent, which was,
Spooky.
and we all remarked that was quite weird at
And
that
then-
point.
A creeping mist
Mm-hmm.
started to sort of make its way in,
Yeah,
which added to the atmosphere just a
yeah, it
little bit.
definitely did. It was like something properly out of a horror film at that point.
Because it wasn't behind us, it was just creeping in front of us, like on three
it was-
sides. It was like it's only given us one way to run.
It's like a big circle path that sort of dips like a bowl, and we were down in that particular grassy bowl, which is the castle ring.
Yes, it took us about 20 minutes to walk to where we went and try to get like sort of towards the centre of the ring. And I just want to sort of briefly mention, like, Cannock Chase, for those that don't know, is steeped in paranormal history, paranormal reports. There's been Bigfoot seen there, wild man, dogmen, big cats, black-eyed children, like Greg said, ghost activity, abductions, UFOs, even a pig man has been
Portals.
seen. Portals, werewolves, and for like hundreds of years there's been these reports. It's Castle Ring, where we were, believed to be some sort of burial ground thousands of years ago, and that's what like the mound is. And Castle Ring especially has been like where a lot of these focused sightings have been seen. So that's why we sort of chose this area to see if we could find anything happen.
So we decided that we would do something called the Estes method, which for people that have listened to us on the podcast before, we've actually done this particular experiment with Ash in Manchester and me in Whitney in Oxfordshire, and had some mixed results, but nothing as conclusive as we had or appeared to have at Cannock at the Castle Ring. So people don't know that it's an experiment where you use the spirit box, like a radio that scans frequencies, and it's said that the white noise in between the radio clips is a way that the spirits can communicate, and also they can manipulate some of the sounds and play, say, a voice, make noises, those kind of things. But with the Estes method, instead of just doing a spirit box and everybody can hear it, it's one person has headphones on, noise cancelling headphones, you have a blindfold on, so at that point there's no way that outside influences can sort of impact on what's being said. So we then asked questions to Ash. Ash was the victim, the volunteer for this particular experiment. So he donned a scarf around his eyes. He had some Beats headphones on, so he couldn't hear anything. Plugged himself into the spirit box. We got it on video. We've got it on 2 voice recorders. So we were trying to get any evidence that we captured across multiple devices and different mediums. So we've got Ash, we've got the video, we've got audio, and ourselves, me and Abby, asking the questions to see what come out. And the experiment was about 15 minutes long, I think it was. Yeah. That we did it, and
Felt
to
longer.
say we got some interesting results.
It did. It felt a lot longer.
It did. I bet it did to Ash. So we we started asking questions, and as with the nature of this particular experiment, particularly for the person who's got the headphones on, it doesn't necessarily make any sense because they can't hear the questions being asked. Us asking the questions, obviously we can react to the answers that are coming out or the responses that are coming out. Did you want me to play the video clip of that bit?
Yeah.
That
Do you want to
we
just?
played?
Yeah, get on at least the audio.
Yeah. I won't play the whole lot because it's 15 minutes, but unless you want me to. I know.
Yeah.
Right, let me get this 1 second. Obviously I'll just edit this bit out in a bit. You right there, Natalie? I know
I'm
we haven't-
fine.
Yeah.
Just answering my emails at the same time.
Right, so
I'm going to open the transcript as well, so I can.
let me. So I'll get to sort of one of the main interesting bits that's was straightforward, nice and easy to get to. There, at times, unfortunately, with this experiment, at times there can be nothing happening, and we're waiting for responses to come through. So it isn't necessarily a direct conversation that you have. But, like I say, when Ash says names or says things, we can react to that and ask further questions, and sometimes it does get results, as you will see when I play this. So this is a moment where Abby asks a question and you'll see Ash's response. Do you like it? Pardon? Pardon?
Do you know any of our names?
Abby.
What the fuck? Oh shit. Can you tell us anybody else? So that was a clip of Abigail asking Ash, could he name anybody here? And Ash comes out and says Abby.
It's so much laugh box. I've watched this clip so many times and listened to the sound so many times, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, it kind of makes me laugh because when you're there in the moment, because you can't see anything, you can't hear anything apart from just the radio sound going through your ears, and you're just trying to concentrate on hearing words or sentences or noises to relay it. So we've been doing it for about 10 minutes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really weird because like it was cold, it's in the nighttime, in the middle of this bit of embankment in the middle of the forest. And I've been sort of saying words that to me don't make sense because I'm just trying to hear words and saying it, then I sort of forget about it because I'm just concentrating on trying to hear more words. It's like Greg said, it doesn't mean much to me. Now, when I said Abby, the word Abby just came through crystal clear. But I used to work with a girl called Abby, and she, like, I pictured her when I said the name Abby. I didn't even think that I was stood with Abby. It was this other Abby that came to my mind. But you're just trying to like.
I'm pretty forgettable though.
It's just really, it's a surreal feeling because you don't know what's going on. It's like when I called an end to it after about 15 minutes, it was because you don't know what's going on. Like Abby and Greg could have gone. I could have stood there on my own. It could have been, and it got.
Oh, imagine if you'd have taken that off and you'd have been on your own.
We did think about that. We did discuss it.
Oh.
What disturbed me more than my name being said, although that was disturbing, was the laughter after it.
Yeah.
And then the other bits that came out after that was quite creepy. Can't do it without you stuff. It was just.
So we had another bit and we were talking about names and the name Nathaniel came out. And we thought it was the name of a boy or somebody that had been there. I think some of my questioning was around children because of the black-eyed children type thing. And then after Ash had said Nathaniel, shortly afterwards he was like, "That's not me, I'm not him."
Yeah. Which
was a random thing, and we weren't really too sure what that was all about. And it wasn't till we spoke afterwards and I said to Ash, you said Nathaniel, then you said that's not me, I'm not him. And Ash had been picturing, do you want to say, Ash?
Yeah, so we had a guest on the podcast recently, a demonologist called Nathaniel Gillis.
Yep.
And when I said the name Nathaniel again, and then in darkness, images just flash up when you're associating words with different things. And his picture just flashed in my head. So I said Nathaniel. The only Nathaniel I've ever heard of is him who we interviewed on the podcast. And then moments later, I'm saying, that's not me. I'm not him. So it sort of links out. He sort of knows that I'm thinking of this different Nathaniel. And he's telling me that that's not me. And it's weird how, like, it wasn't just words, it was like a full-on sentence. So that was, again, then I asked someone afterwards, at the time, you don't think about, I'm just saying words. To you, it doesn't sort of make sense because it doesn't relate to what you've asked. Exactly. But afterwards, when we sort of piece it together, it actually did. It's possibly a valid response.
Yeah, and it was around that sort of time that everything was starting to get a bit weird and a bit freaky, and I was not really feeling that comfortable being there. And I do paranormal hunts and investigations quite a lot, and I'm used to standing in the dark in a cell in Oxford Prison.
I mean, we're both, for both of us to be experienced investigators who have been doing this for decades. When there is a noise, you grab your camera, you grab your kit, and you run towards it. If there's a door slamming shut, you want to know who's done it, who's there.
Yeah.
And you go head charging into it. I've run about asylums at 2 o'clock in the morning, chasing a cat. I didn't know it was a cat at the time, but it was a cat. But that was nothing to me, because that's what I was there for. And although that's what we're there for in Cannock Chase, I didn't feel safe. I didn't
learn to trust your gut in our business, I think.
Yeah, I did not feel comfortable. I felt crowded. I felt like everything was coming in on us, and there was like an intense pressure and a need to run.
Yeah, and we all said that was probably about, and Ash had felt something like cold on his back, and we were like, right, let's.
Yeah, because I ended the SS methods, actually about 15 minutes in, and it started getting a bit, the same two voices kept appearing. There's a lady's voice and a deep man's voice kept appearing with clear words. And like towards the end, he was talking about, he was like, oh my God, oh God. I fought someone, and this is the woman saying, oh God, and then moments, like a few seconds later, oh God, no. And then talk about fighting someone. And then it's at this point where he went really, really cold behind my back. And the rest of my body was just, it wasn't warm, but it was just the same temperature. And then behind my back just went really, really cold all of a sudden. And with the same voice coming through, the deep man's voice, this woman's voice talking about fighting and like sort of not sounding happy. And again, I've been in blindfolded for 15 minutes, sort of on my own. You do feel like you're alone. You don't know what's going on whatsoever. And I just said, no, that's it. I'm done. I wish I carried on. When we've gone through the footage, it seemed like it was really heating up and getting more coherent answers and more thingy answers. So I do wish that I'd carried on a bit longer, but at the time I was just, I didn't like it.
And like Abby said, after that point, it was all starting to feel a bit strange,
oppressive.
None of us wanted to really be there any longer, so we packed up and made a fairly swift exit. In a line of us, I was at the front because I'm not going to be at the back. Then Abby, then Ash was at the back.
Right.
And I'm just like, say the word and I'll run if we need
to. Like you were expecting footsteps thundering past you.
Yeah, I was trying to have a quick look over to the side, but hoping not to see any sort of like twin eyes reflecting back at me, because that would have just...
I had a really strong urge. I had a really strong urge to look behind me, but I was just like, no, not a chance.
I had this image in my head of, if I turn around, there's going to be two kids stood at the back of me, and they're going to be staring right at me and pointing at me, hold like this freaky twins thing going on. I'm like, no, leg it.
So we swiftly made our way back to the cars, and that was the end of the night. It ended on a bit of a high, sort of weird night.
Definitely.
I don't even think we even stopped to say, ta-ra, drive safe, see you later. I think we just piled straight into cars, started them up and tore it.
It was almost like that. And we were parked next to some abandoned pub.
Oh yeah, and there's a light. There's a light on inside it as well. It just made it really eerie, like
in the middle of nowhere.
Literally in the middle of nowhere.
I just did a pure Dukes of Hazzard over a little bridge trying to get to the motorway. Just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, back on the M6 and I felt safe.
So
that was Cannock Chase.
I guess next question is, when are we going back?
Yeah. Because it got dark quite late. It felt like it got dark quite late.
To you it did. To me it didn't. It was like, it was really odd. It's like we walked up there and to me it was dead light. It was dead. Mm-hmm. No, everything was fine. Got there and it seemed like 10 minutes to sort of have a quick look about, seen the mist rolling in. Then all of a sudden it was dark and we were doing the Estes method. And then we were on our way back and it's 11 o'clock. I'm like, there's a whole hour there that I can't really account for. What was I doing?
We were taking photos.
Did I have a kip in the grass? I remember taking some photos and cheesy pointing up at the imaginary.
The UFOs up there. And unfortunately it was really overcast and cloudy, so we didn't even get an opportunity to properly look up at the stars and see if there's anything weird in the sky, which would have just rounded the that particular section of the day off, I think.
Yeah.
Frosty nights in November would be really good for up there. I mean, it would be cold, but if you dressed warm enough, you would get the clear skies. You get.
One complaint I've got there was I got bitten so much by those bloody flies. I must say, it was midges and everywhere. And you see what we can do is we can put the full Estes method clip, the full 15 minutes up on the page, so people can see it as a video, see the whole thing. They might pick up on stuff that we haven't picked up on, maybe. Because if anybody picks up on some eyes in the distance, that will suitably prove that those weird feelings were
any like low rumbling growl in the background.
Sometimes it takes someone else's eyes to see it.
Yeah,
it does. Because the good thing is with the particular clip that we put up, because obviously we've got the video being filmed from a distance, so it was probably about 10 foot or so, and then I'm holding a voice recorder, so I've got the voice recorder audio over the top of the video, so it could be nice and as clear as it possibly could be. I don't know who was holding the other voice recorder.
I just put it on the floor.
So I could actually put that over the top as well. So we've got 2 audio devices and a video device, just in case anything else is picked up. And we'll play that on the page when we release this and see what people think. Because like you say, sometimes, like you said, Natalie, other people's eyes can see stuff that you didn't necessarily pick up either at the time, or because I watched it back a few times now. So yeah, that'd be good. But yeah, overall, a very strange night. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I got soaking wet.
Yeah.
And bitten to death.
I don't understand how like 3 really, really intelligent people, all with mobile phones and Google Maps, can lose 2 different paths back to the car park.
And compasses.
And compasses as well. And we still managed to end up in 4 foot, 5 foot high brambles.
That was the shortcut, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No comment.
We followed Ash on that one, and we got absolutely drenched. But
it was fun. We laughed though.
Mm-hmm.
We did laugh.
It was funny. And then there was treacherous drops that could have easily taken one or more of us out. So. Yeah.
Oh, if I was going, I was taking you lot with me.
But yeah, it was a thoroughly good day. It was a fairly long day, but it was a good day, and yeah, definitely up for doing that again.
Just a shame the rain last couple of hours investigation time just due to It's just too heavy. It was a bit of rain, not fine, but this was
It was quite
pouring down
torrential
rain.
at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Cannock Chase. So moving on from that, you guys do UFO Identified. Tell the listeners, because obviously I know a little bit about it, and you guys obviously know about it.
You want to take this one, Matt?
Okay, yeah. So
away.
yeah, we've got UFO Identified. So
Yep.
it's www.ufoidentified.co.uk for anybody who wants to have a little peek at what we do. So it's something that Ash started up, and then Abby and I became involved after that. And the website covers a few different bases, really. We have a section that's on research on there. So any interesting things that we find either in the media goes on there, any media articles that are in the mainstream press. But we also write articles and publish articles on the website. So Abby's just done one on the Men in Black. And I'm in the middle of doing a series of articles on cryptids. So we've covered the Mothman, and we're looking at other ones on there like the Kentucky Goblins, faux fillet, Yeti, that kind of thing. So there's lots of different articles and pieces of research on there, that we'd encourage people to have a little read of. As I say, all the media articles and things that people send to us or that we find ourselves are up on there. And we've also got a little tab on there that you can report any strange sightings or UFO sightings, phenomena. Dead easy to fill in, and we'd encourage anybody who sees anything that they feel that could be reportable does that. And you fill that in on the website, that comes through to us. And then if it comes through us, it's allocated to one of us to investigate. And we also pull on information from other groups that are available. And Ash compiles this really cool database of sightings from all over the country, all classified into different areas and things like that. So the database is available, and it's we reckon it's one of the best, don't we, guys?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, what's fact is it's the biggest database of UK UFO sightings based on the current data.
Yeah.
So the database so far it's just been this year's sightings. At time of counting, 7 months in, it's 230 sightings that have been reported to all the different organisations. So I collect them all and put them into one database so you can see what's being reported and where.
But unless it's reported to us, we can't really go investigating because we don't have the contact information of whoever's seen it. So the more people report to us, the better.
Yeah, it is like an overview, but it's just like information sightings, shape what we're seeing, time, dates. You can sort of see where patterns emerge. It's been quite a few days where there's been 8 or 9 sightings on the same day, sometimes in the same area. Similar sightings seen on the same day, which has been happening.
If you live in a particular area, you can, have a look at that particular area. If you live in Scotland, you can just look at that. So it's an ever-evolving site, really. We are very keen to put new content on there frequently and often. And obviously, we always try and put something up if, there's big news like when the Americans published their infamous document recently. So we cover things like that, anything in the news that's really cool, that needs looking at. But we also have a members page on there. So we have a couple of different types of membership. We don't make any money from the membership. The membership money goes back in for research in the organisation. But members who join can get extra benefits. So money off our merchandise that we've got available, money off conferences, things like that, lots of different things. And all the information is on the website about the members' benefits and things like that. We've also got really active social media groups. So we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, and we have got Instagram. So obviously we can get that word out right across the globe. We've got followers from all kinds of places that we tap in with, which is really great. So I'd encourage anybody to go and have a little look at it. Come and join us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Give us a shout out if you're doing anything, any research, any hunting around, any sky watches. All of our sky watches and things like that are all advertised on the website and social media for people to come down and be involved with that. And we're a very contactable group as well. So if anyone's got any queries, any questions, we're very open and transparent. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We can have a laugh and a joke. Abby and I spent a couple of hours on the internet the other night manipulating Zoom. So Abby was upside down, because it caused some sort of hysteria with us, So whilst we do take what we do seriously, we are lighthearted and easygoing with it. And we very much think it's a space where people can be free to speak about stuff that perhaps they don't want to talk about with the family or friends. It's a group of very like-minded people. So it's a safe space,
It's a very community spirited one. There's a lot of things that's not tolerated. We regulate more than some of the other pages, so abuse is not. It's a free and open, safe space.
Yeah,
but being
it's
community,
really
we have various events. Some for members only. A lot are spread across the groups. Anybody can turn up, and we do those regularly.
And I think the good thing about all the people that we have as well is that they come from a wide variety of backgrounds. Some people have been involved in UFOs or paranormal stuff for years, and yet some people have literally just come into it, in the last few months and are wanting to ask questions and are keen to know about things. So it's a real diverse bunch of people from all over, and everybody's really welcome. In the group to ask what they want to ask and get out of it what they want to get out of it, really. And we are the coolest 3 administrators in the world to work with, just to add in there.
So one question I need to ask is, do you go on any other of the Facebook groups? So there is literally hundreds of UFO groups.
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So I'm on a lot of them as well.
But what we do is we learn from them, and we learn what goes on that's good, and we also learn the things that are not so great. Like we have experienced lots of people in different groups who have been quite rude to people who are contributing, and not allowing people to have an opinion. So we do go into all those groups, and lots of us are members of lots of things out there. So we take things from it, but the good and the bad.
What about for you guys? Because I'm on some groups, and if anybody expresses an opinion that doesn't seem to fit the narrative of the page, people get shut down straight away. So, for example, there's many bad groups on Facebook, but say some of the paranormal ones I'm on, somebody will put up some footage or a piece of evidence, loosest term, that's clearly it's nothing. It's clear to see it's either a natural phenomena, like a lens flare or something like that, and then as soon as somebody puts an opinion that doesn't fit the narrative of the group, i.e. they're not accepting it as a lens flare, you get shut down and warned that you're going to be booted.
No, our aim is more to educate. It's like if somebody's like, oh no, that's not a lens flare, it's this, definitely this. It's a case of, well, actually no, this is a lens flare. Let me show you how we know it's a lens flare. This is that. We've taken a picture. Here's the picture. Here's the picture from another angle. And we'll educate before But if they start to get no, and then they get abusive with it, they're gone.
Absolutely.
Cool.
It
'Cause
has to
there
be
are a
safe
lot of-
space.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of crazy people out there. A lot of people with a very focused mindset on what they believe, and whether it be
That's
true
all
or
right.
made
Everybody
up
can
or-
believe whatever they want to believe, but don't try to ram it down somebody else's throat.
Cool.
Yeah, we encourage natural debate. You
Yeah,
know, it wouldn't be
debate
good if we
without
all,
abuse.
yeah, if we all felt or had the same ideas.
No,
You know, it's there to educate, as Abby says, for everyone to be able to have that chance to have an opinion on things without fear of, you know.
I mean, I'm not saying we know everything. We don't, because I've been educated on these things. I had no idea about lens flares because I was never big on photography, and most of my stuff gets taken at night anyway.
Yeah.
So I had no idea about it. So that was an education for me. None of us are saying we know everything. And through debate and conversation, we all learn from each other.
Cool.
It just doesn't have to be abusive or condescending, or
Yeah.
there's no need to make fun of somebody because they don't get something. There's a lot of stuff I don't get. Chinese writing, for one. There's loads of stuff I don't get.
We do get a lot of comments from people who join the group and read our articles and things and say, wow, what a warm and friendly group of people that you are, and it's nice to be welcomed into somewhere that you're not going to get laughed out or, you know, shouted at for having the wrong opinion. So we do pride ourselves on that, really.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those comments of people saying that they feel really welcome, and I must say your articles as well on the website are really good, really well written.
Thank you.
So yeah, I enjoy reading those. So
yeah, we like to keep it varied, don't we?
Oh yes, oh yes. There is one that we're going to be trying to do a joint one, Natalie and I.
Yes.
Okay.
It's this is gonna kick some kennels, I think.
Okay. Can you give any kind of hint as to what that's about?
Well, yeah, because we may actually need some assistance from listeners if they are able. We want to test the validity of hypnotic regression with relation to paranormal experiences and the UFO experiences.
Yeah.
Abductions and stuff, and if it has any merit or whether
it's a load of baloney.
Yeah, well, I was trying to find a nice way to say that, but I'm Scottish, so sometimes it's difficult.
Say it as it is.
All right, I just don't know if it's bollocks or not, so I'm really like to find out.
Abby and I have had a long discussion over it, and we're quite willing to go into it together. Because I think if it was just me, I would feel quite anxious about it because I do have some questions that I would like to explore and be answered. But I would want someone I trust to be there. So if someone does hypnotize me, they don't hypnotize me to run around like pretending to be a chicken or something like that. But from a scientific point of view, we do want to see the validity of that. So we're looking to work with someone who's not really got any bias one way or the other over it, someone who's very neutral.
And is happy to let us video the sessions, but only our own sessions between the two of us, because we both get it done, we both get it video, we both be there to support, and then to see what would happen and try and compare that to other cases that have been documented to see if...
So if anybody knows or is somebody who does that sort of regression therapy with people, if you drop us a note or contact us through social media, Facebook, the website, you know, we're keen to get this up and running as soon as we can, aren't we, Abs?
Oh yeah. It's getting close to winter. We need projects that keeps us busy.
Definitely. Cool. Thank you. So anybody out there, let us know. Even contact us through the podcast page or whatever is easiest.
Yeah.
Let us know. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, cool. I sort of stayed a bit quiet then when talking about UFO identify because
it's your little baby.
Yeah, and I could probably be a little bit biased with it. So I just happy to you two sort of give your... It's interesting for me to hear it as well.
Yeah, we're very enthusiastic about it. We love what we do.
We do. But, we wouldn't be here without Ash and Ash creating it. And I think he was just feeling a bit overwhelmed because there is so much to do.
Yeah.
There's so much admin and stuff that goes on with the research behind it, the articles and stuff. And we're all very busy guys. We all work full time and stuff. So it's been good to get our three heads together, and we meet up on a regular basis, whether it's face to face or on Zoom calls, making Abby dangle upside down, and things like that. So yeah, we keep in touch with what's going on, and I think the group works well.
And we don't speak in hushed tones when we meet in public either. We've had conversations
we
round
go
tables.
we go out with
in
our
pubs.
sweatshirts on that says UFO identified on them.
I've seen those.
The first meeting that we had face to face when we could go out after COVID, we were in a very sort of posh, well-to-do pub, and we were sat next to a group of about 6 or 7 ladies, and they must have thought, "My God, who are we sat next to?" Because we were discussing all kinds of things: abductions, lights in the sky, Bigfoot, Yetis, you name it.
But I heard one of them talking about Rendlesham halfway through our conversation, so I thought, yeah, words out.
And we have a lot of branded stuff now. So our, little shopping bags have been to the Co-op, they've been to the Aldi, and all of the supermarkets.
I've been a walk round the car boat in Bosco.
So we're out and about there spreading the word, and you can also purchase our lovely merchandise. So if you've got any questions on that, you can give us a shout through
that
the
pushing
website.
the merch on a podcast.
I know, shameful.
It's
that's
shameful.
Blatant.
Shameless.
Advertising. We're getting no advertising revenue from this.
Absolutely shameless.
It's only by making those few pounds on donations and the membership and stuff that allows us to be able to do the stuff that we need to do, the administration stuff, and hopefully we've got a really exciting sort of mini conference coming up, so that money is helping fund that for people, so they could have a reduced discounted ticket and things. So we're not buying any beach huts in Hawaii. We are plunging any money back into
Not even buying ourselves a drink with it.
No, I know.
I couldn't get a beach shelter on Formby at this point. No. No.
So what's the future then? So you're writing the articles, you've got the conference coming up, you're doing sky watches, you're pushing merchandise like no one's business.
World domination, Greg.
Yeah.
We're trying to get we're also trying to get into the media to try and take it all a bit more seriously, and to use us and to use the website as a resource, because it is, like Ash says, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, database in the country. So if they have stories that come up, then we're a good resource for that.
We find it very frustrating that when an article's in one of the big national papers, it's like, ooh, and we'll reference something from 1973.
It doesn't go past 2009, and I'm thinking, but last Tuesday there was a triangle over.
So we're keen to work with people to say, look, we've got this up-to-date data and research. Come work with us. So I think that's one of the things Abby's going to tackle next is the media.
I'm on that. I have my list, and there's going to be I can see a restraining order in my future, or at least some blocked social media.
So can you just remind? I'll take the lead on this one, Ash. Can you just remind everybody where they can find you guys? So where's your website? What's your website?
What's he laughing at?
I don't know. He's gone. Okay, I'll go. No, I won't. Let's make him more uncomfortable.
Go on, spit it out.
Come on, Chuckles.
So the website is www.ufoidentified.co.uk. The Facebook is Facebook.com/UFO Identified. The Instagram is UFO Identified NW, and the Twitter is Identified UFO. So you can reach out to us, and if you search for the UFO Identified Northwest Division, that's the Facebook group.
Cool.
So we
Thank
hope
you.
to get in touch with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and guys,
Yay.
thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
Hopefully, we can get you some people who might not have heard of you guys before, especially in the UK. It'd be really good.
Yeah.
To contact you guys with any sightings and whatnot.
I hope we get invited back to talk to you again.
I
And
wouldn't
plug our
push it.
merchandise.
No, it'd be a pleasure. It definitely, as well as things grow for you guys, because I know you guys have been really successful in what you've been doing, certainly over since Christmas time onwards. And I've seen the social media group grow and new people coming on board all the time. So it's really good to see. So great work.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
having us.
Just
Yes.
remember me when you're famous.
You coming with us? We're going to need PR.
I can be the face.
Press liaison.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
very nice.
Like that's my word of the
Just give me
day,
a
toilet
fancy
paper.
tart, I'll be happy. Cool. So what we'll do is I'll put the clip up so everybody listening. I'll put the clip up for the Estes method. So it'll be interesting to see what people think about that. It is about 15 minutes, and there are periods of silence and periods of me looking up at the sky for some reason, constantly looking up at the sky, in the faint hope that I was going to see something.
Yeah, but that's what
Rather than-
Playtime's 2's for.
Yes, yeah. So I will put it up unedited. It's the audio, the video at the same time overlapped.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see what everybody's opinions are.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks again for joining us.
No props.
Thanks
Yep,
for having
cheers.
us.
You know where to find us if you want to buy a hoodie.
Yes, apparently so. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. See you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.
Pursuit of the Paranormal with Ash and Greg.